So, Vicky, welcome to the Disenfranchised. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Good to be here.
Good. It was a pleasure to have you join us today. And how are you finding the world at the moment?
Oh, it's lovely to be able to go out and sort of enjoy a few more freedoms that we've sort of been used to over many years, and just being able to take the kids to tennis or to meet up with friends, even outside is a pure joy at the moment. So I'm trying to make the most of it while we can, just in case it all goes back. But hopefully, fingers crossed, that's it now. So it can only get better.
Yeah, that's it. And well, it'd be nice if the weather kind of improved a little bit as well, wouldn't it? All the
It would,
hailstones we're having
yeah.
this week.
Yeah, yeah, it does seem a little bit extreme, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed. Perfect. So, to get us started, I wanted to find out what's your first job. Where did you start out?
Okay, so I did a history degree. So I, like many people who did a history degree, had no idea really what I wanted to do after that. I didn't want to do history, so I joined a graduate training scheme. I joined John Lewis. So I joined on their graduate training scheme in retail. Did that for 2 years. Learned absolutely tons. It would have to say it was the most amazing induction into the world of work, and not just into retail, but some of the standards in and the training and the level of detail that they went into, and investment that they put into us was supreme. And I haven't seen many other graduate training schemes that were as comprehensive as that. So it was a really, really good grounding for me. Ultimately, I didn't really want to do retail, but actually, the training and the sort of that induction into the world of work, just to what it was like to have some responsibility, while sort of other than doing a sort of waitressing job on a Saturday. It was just a really, really good way to start off my career.
Perfect. So, how and why did you find that role? From from history, I'm guessing. In my mind, it's archaeology or something like that. You go into, right? So, how did you then get into John Lewis, and
No,
why did you find that?
yeah. I said I went to work because I wanted to do a degree. I wanted to go to university. It was an A level I enjoyed. It was modern history, and I really had no probably intentions of ever doing history in later life. I wanted to go to university for that university experience, but also to enable me to go and get a graduate level job, because ultimately I think, and I say it to my 16-year-old daughter all the time, they're all stepping stones, and you're proving that you can study to a certain level. And obviously, with history there was a lot of writing skills and being able to put together an argument and research, so you were proving lots of and demonstrating lots of transferable skills that you could have to take into sort of anything in the world of work. And I was getting to the end of my degree, and I was sort of, as I said, didn't know what I wanted to do, but and I'm guessing it's still the same now for university, but they have the milk rounds where lots of the big employers come around and talk to you about their graduate schemes, and you do sort of 3 days of horrendous assessments, and they take you away and test you for every sort of tiny thing. And so I applied through the milk rounds for a whole host of things. Because I say, I was looking for something really that was general management, that would give me that grounding to go further. And I was lucky to get onto the John Lewis training scheme, which was amazing, because it was a really competitive process. So I was really proud that I managed to do that, and because it had such a good reputation, and gave me some really, really good general management training, which I knew that I would be able to take on and do something else, whatever that would be. Say retail ultimately wasn't for me, but so after that, I'd done my training for 2 years. I really still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. It's a good job you don't have to have a sort of a job for life these days, because clearly that wasn't going to be for me. And so I looked around at something else, and I found Alliance and Leicester, who was actually Gyrobank at the time. They had a graduate training scheme, and so I hopped onto another one. I'd obviously been so impressed by doing my time with John Lewis. I wanted to try something else, so I got onto that training scheme, and again, it was a totally different experience, a whole different world. I was inducted into the world of banking, and never really did a lot of the sort of, although the training took you through, we did everything from check clearing to, we were never sort of high street because Jarrow Bank was a commercial bank. But you got to see how everything worked in a sort of that background in the back office. So again, really great experience. We then got bought by Alliance Leicester, which made us much bigger, obviously, organisation. And I stayed there for 12 years, cool. Doing a whole host of roles after my initial training. I did everything from marketing, corporate responsibility, a lot of project management, and probably one of the sort of the biggest roles I had was I was PA to our managing director for about 3 years, which was absolutely a fantastic experience, because you were suddenly exposed to all of the sort of the top execs of a massive, FTSE 100 company, and you got to see how their decisions were made, and to get to real understanding of things about the politics of big organizations. We got to work, get involved with discussions with the unions and literally anything and everything. So it was such a good opportunity, was really sort of fundamental to sort of taking me on to sort of next steps, because I had that sort of insight into being a support role as well, and that was really key. I was obviously supporting our MD and some of the other execs. And I was able to see the influence that you can have, but how important it is. You don't necessarily have to be at the forefront of everything. Being someone behind the scenes can be as equally as powerful and important within an organisation. And again, I learned absolutely tons.
Did you ever have the desire to become the MD yourself?
Gosh, I don't know. I was still quite young then, so probably. That seemed a long way away. I was always very and still ambitious, so I was always looking for sort of the next opportunities. Whether I saw myself going quite that high, I have no idea. But I think when I was still obviously in my early 20s then, and it was, it felt like if I look back now to where I am now, it seems a whole different world. And it also seems very alien being in a large corporate. Now I've been having my own business for so long, that they seem so poles apart. And I probably would have, and again, when I was sort of 25, never could have imagined that I would have my own business, with franchisees across the UK. So it's funny how things change and evolve, and you don't necessarily, some people, I guess, have a massive sort of life plan that they're going to be doing this, and this, and mine is not necessarily. I never had a plan like that, and I've been very fortunate at the steps I've been able to take, and sort of the way I've been able to shape things.
Yeah, it's cool. I want to come on to your business in a second, but with your role then with Alliance and Leicester, did you continue with other companies as a PA, or did you move into a different direction?
Yeah, so I stayed with the Alliance Leicester for 12 years. Then we got bought out by Santander. So there was a big voluntary redundancy program went on, and I was at the time on maternity leave with my son, my youngest, and it seemed like a really good opportunity at that point to move on and do something else. Wasn't quite sure what. But I had, two youngest children, didn't particularly fancy, having to sort of do the commute and all the juggle, and not really knowing, there was the roles that were available weren't necessarily the roles that I particularly wanted to do. So I decided to take the money and run, if you like. So, but I was fortunate at the time. I was also talking to Caroline, who has now become my business partner. We are and we're good friends, and we talked for several years before that point about wouldn't it be good to have our own business, and we talked vaguely about doing some sort of virtual PA business, and sort of talked about how it could work and all the different sort of scenarios. But we'd never really taken it any further. But when you've got the opportunity of taking voluntary redundancy, where you were sort of getting that opportunity to start something new with a bit of a safety net, it just seemed too much of a good opportunity to pass by. So I took the voluntary redundancy, and we then we actually had a New Year's Eve together with our husbands, chatted a bit more about the idea and decided, actually, look, this is a good time to do it. So we then spent the next 9 months planning what we were going to do, how we were going to launch the business, because we're big planners. And we launched the following September when my eldest daughter started school. So, and we haven't looked back since. So that's been that's about 12, 13 years ago. So
cool. So how did you and Caroline meet?
We met through our eldest children, our daughters, at swimming classes. So Puddle Ducks, which obviously is a big franchise now.
Oh, nice.
We met when our children were about 6, 9 months old, got chatting as you do at various classes, became friends, our husbands became friends. And then, as I say, we just started out idly chatting really about, wouldn't it be great to do something on our own? And we were always the organisers within our friendship groups and the ones that sorted out the holidays away, or everything within our household. And we just thought, wouldn't it be great if we could use those skills that we've got into to create a business? And we could see the potential that we were really busy. We'd both been working parents. We knew how hard it was to juggle everything. And initially what we thought was launch, and what we did launch, was a virtual PA service for busy people at home. So you could drop your child off at nursery, and you could then leave an errand list, and we'd go and sort your dry cleaning out, or we might go and book your holiday, or all those types of more home-based services. And we just thought that would be absolutely perfect opportunity, because we were those busy people, and we thought, actually, yes, we could help loads of other people out there.
That's interesting, because I think of a virtual assistant generally as being online, helping with administration or marketing or something along those lines. But you actually started out, almost like service-based kind of assistance.
Yeah, definitely. We, our idea for a start was very much aiming for busy people at home. We weren't really looking for the the business side of things. It was more almost like that concierge type role. And when we launched it, we got some partnership with some local nurseries, which we were really proud of. And we landed those deals. We were like, this is it. And we started off. We got some customers, but we actually, as we got more and more customers, some of our customers we found out had their own small businesses. And they asked, did we do work for small businesses as well? And we would say, yes, we'll do anything at that time. So we said, yes, absolutely. And that side of things evolved much more. And so we looked at the business model, and we realized actually by offering both, but predominantly actually support for small businesses, it was a much more sustainable model. Small businesses need help every day or every week, or, on an ongoing basis. Whereas busy people at home, if you found them a cleaner, or, run some errands, or you found them a holiday, they might not need that help again. So our model very much got turned on its head. And we originally called Pink Spaghetti Home PA Services, and we dropped the home in our name, and very much focused on the small business market then.
Okay, cool. So how did you come up with the name Pink Spaghetti?
We've we have, that's been one of our best questions that we've ever been on. So when we were thinking of a business name, we didn't want to be Cheshire PA Services or something a bit plain. We wanted something that would stand out. So we said, well, how do we know each other? And we'd met through our eldest daughters, who at the time loved spaghetti, and we thought, that's perfect. We're sorting out tangled mess in people's lives. But the domain name spaghetti.co.uk had gone for a start, and we also thought it sounded a bit like we were going to be making Italian food, which clearly we weren't. So we thought, okay, what do a lot of big brands do? They put a colour with their name. So having two girls, their favourite colour was pink at the time. And we put the two together, and Pink Spaghetti was born. And I have to say, one of our best decisions ever, because it is memorable, it stands out. We actually, when we went and had the logo created by a graphic designer, he pulled out the PA in spaghetti, which we clearly hadn't thought of. We'll probably still be 20 years down the line going, oh yes, didn't realize that. But that was quite a significant moment for us, like it was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. You could have got away with that and said, oh, and yeah, and obviously with PA in spaghetti, it really made sense.
Yeah. I still remember we went to see the designer, and he showed us all his designs, and they'd all got this PA pulled out in the colour, and we were going, oh, I can't believe that. We just never saw it. It was still such an eye-opener moment for us. So
it shows you that it's important actually to have somebody else look at things from the outside, doesn't it? And I guess that's part of the service you're providing to people, is having that outside view and saying, actually, you could be doing it better this way, or this could be done slightly differently. So.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's we from very early on, we went to people who were experts to support us. We could have put together, a logo, we could have paid someone, or used some, something to put together a logo that wouldn't look necessarily as professional, or a website that wasn't quite as professional as we'd want it, because it would have been cheaper at the time. And there is that temptation, but we always wanted to make sure that we use people's skills appropriately. So by having a graphic designer, that they know exactly what they're doing. We've never looked back on that. We made sure that we had a really good website. So we always appeared to sort of be bigger than we were initially. And that was always important to us. We've always been very, things like our brand colors and our, sort of the way we brand everything. We always want to make sure that everything looks very professional. Even when we were sort of two mums sitting around the kitchen table and sort of replying to emails on our phones at, while our kids played at the play barn, no one needed to know that. We would never have said, oh, we can't talk to a customer, or can't do that because we're sort of on the school run. As much as we are very, everything we do is very flexible to our customers, we always want to appear very professional. And certainly, when they were sat at the play barn, a customer would never have known that. So it's enabled us to scale up without sort of the customers never knowing, really, which is, I think, has been a strength for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think people can feel a bit of that imposter syndrome, can't they, when they first start out a business, that actually, am I good enough to do this? Is it real? But if you have that front of it, no one knows what's going on behind the scenes, do they?
Exactly. I quite often say to people, fake it till you make it. And we were very prepared when we sort of spent 9 months preparing for everything we thought that customers might want us to do, because we didn't want to not be prepared, but actually they never asked us to do anything that we sort of researched and spent hours on. And sometimes you just have got to go for it. But if you've got something, the foundations and things in front of you that actually can make you look prepared, one of the things we say to our franchisees as well is that you might get asked to be able to do something which you're not quite sure of, but you can just say, yeah, absolutely, leave it with me, and I'll go and I'll come back to you. So you're giving the customer that confidence, and 99.9% of the time there is a solution to it. Everything is figure outable, and you've got the support of us at head office. You've got the franchise network. You've got Google. That everything that we get to do is figure outable, and you just sometimes got to just say yes, and yeah, absolutely, leave it with me, and be that confident, safe pair of hands.
Yeah, it's good. So when you started out then, how important did you feel it was to have Caroline working with you? Because you mentioned there some ideas from the team when you're uncertain of how to do it yourself. So how important was it for you to have Caroline there to help you?
Oh, we both said we would never have started the business by ourselves. It was so important. Starting a business with a friend can be problematic. I think if you don't know how each other are going to work, we were very, very fortunate that although we've both got some common skills, we've also got very diverse skills and strengths and things that we like doing, which have actually complemented each other really well. So, from a practical perspective, Caroline's able to get on certain things. I'm able to do that. We can, challenge each other's ideas, bring each other back down to ground if we need to. but also it's that support. That's, you know, in those early days, I can still remember, you know, ringing Caroline when we got someone that inquired about something, and I rang her in a panic going, oh, what do we do? How much do we charge? You know, how much shall I quote for it? You know, and we had such imposter syndrome. We were like, oh, we can't possibly charge that, but we could talk to each other about it. You know, days when, you know, I might have been going, oh gosh, this is never going to work. Caroline would be feeling positive and go, no, come on, pick yourself up, and sort of vice versa. So that support, both very practically but emotionally, you know, has kept us going. And you know, we would definitely never have started the business without each other. And you know, it's nice to be able to share, you know, the sort of the growth that we've had. And certainly, you know, even though we've now got a support team who are absolutely fantastic, you know, the sort of, we still bounce ideas off each other. We still share the same values and the ethics. So we've never sort of, you know, had a major disagreement about how to take the business forward, or and I think trust as well. You know, we trust each other implicitly, and that's been key. So yeah, it has been and is still a very, you know, strong working relationship.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear, because it could go so wrong, like you say, working with friends or family. You hear it quite often.
Yeah, we were very, very
out.
lucky, and I don't think we knew how lucky. You know, well, we know how lucky we have been now, because we've been doing it for so long, and we've seen other sort of partnerships not being so successful. But certainly at the beginning, we never. You know, we thought we were very, very similar, but actually we're quite different in many ways. But that's worked really well for us.
Yeah, it's good to have that complementary kind of voice, certainly.
Yeah.
So so it started off with just you two, and then in 2012 you franchised. So is it 3 years then you were running the business before you decided to franchise? When did you guys find franchising, and whose idea was it to go down that route?
Yeah, we got to the point where we'd been running the business successfully. We knew that the model we had worked, and we wanted to grow further. And we had kind of two routes. One was we could try to sort of expand with lots of team members, or the other route was franchising. And we didn't know a lot about franchising at that point. So we went to a franchise show, talked to a lot of people, did a lot of research, because we love to research. We love to go in fully prepared. And we came out of all of that having spoken to the experts, and really looked into it to sort of, yes, actually, we have got a model that we could franchise. We can see that it could work. And we thought, yeah, that's the way we want to go. But we've also got quotes from franchise consultants for sort of 40,000, 50,000 pounds. And we were like, gosh, you know, that's going to take us a while to be able to afford that. We'll start saving, and we'll start sort of, you know, writing a process a week, and, you know, trying to sort of gradually get there. And then very quickly after that, we actually got somebody inquired, were we offering franchises? And we were very fortunate that we had spoken and met at the franchise show a franchise solicitor who basically said that she would give us the franchise contract and all the legal side of things, but we would only have to pay for it when we sold our first franchise. And that was a huge boost for us, because it actually meant, could we do this? Because we're very good at, if we've got a deadline to hit and we've got a project to do, we will do it. So we thought, actually, all these franchise consultants, all they're going to do is pull together everything we can do. We could do that. You know, so actually the only thing that was stopping us was the sort of the legal costs, and actually that was covered. So, you know, let's just do it. If we carry on sort of thinking, well, we'll do it in a few years' time, it'll then be another few years, and there'll always be a reason to put it off. So we said, well, okay, we hurriedly put together an application form for this lady, sent it out to her, and she ultimately didn't go forward. But by that point, we were invested enough in the idea that actually, let's just go for it. So we put out some social media content around it. We put together a newsletter. Sent the newsletter out, and within 24 hours of sending that out, we got an inquiry from Andrea, who became our first pilot franchisee. She'd been stalking us, was keen to do what we did, and been looking at what else was out there, and obviously found us, loved us, had even actually been talking to her family the weekend before about this, is showing them, you know, this is what I want to do. And then when obviously we offered the have a franchise offering, she got in touch, and she actually showed it to her friend Susie, and they became our first 2 franchisees. That I think that was about the March, and they launched in the September. So and then we've never looked back really. We grew very slowly. We wanted to make sure that the pilots, they were pilots. We needed to get everything right. We needed to refine our training, to sort of really make sure that they were well supported. So we didn't then aim to take on any new franchisees immediately after that. We wanted to sort of bed these people in. And so over the next couple of years, we only sort of took on a few, because we were very keen. We don't want to rush this. We want to get it right. And then we got to the point where actually we felt we could accelerate it, and then from then on, once we've sort of grown by roughly about sort of 12 to 15 franchisees a year, and it doesn't mean that our training and the support we give hasn't evolved, and is always evolving, because there's always new things out there, new technology, new services to offer. But we got to the point where we felt confident enough that what we could do and how we worked was solid enough, and was a really good business model for other people to buy into, that we could then accelerate that growth.
Sure. So how many franchisees do you have now?
We've got about 52, I think, at the moment, and we've just had our latest recruit start a few weeks ago. And then our next training is in September, and we've got hopefully a couple of people already signed up for that. So by the end of the year, I'd imagine we'll have about sort of 55, 56 franchises.
Okay, and that's just in the UK, is it, or are you overseas?
Yeah, just UK. We took a decision last year, in fact, actually, because we'd sort of idly talked a little bit, could we go outside of the UK, and again, talked to lots of people who were experts at franchising outside of the UK, or even offering licenses overseas. Decided actually we've got enough opportunity to still to stay focused within the UK. We certainly didn't want to detract from what the support we could offer our UK franchisees, and it was such a big project to sort of go outside of the UK, that we decided to sort of park that one, certainly for the moment, and really focus still on the UK and building up our network. There's an awful lot of the UK still to go, even with 50 odd franchisees, and that's very much our focus now.
Sure. So I guess you've got a territory-based model then, in terms of your franchise partners have a region or an area that they have where they can develop clients.
Yeah.
Is that a model you consciously chose, or is it just seemed to make sense that you went with that? I'm just wondering why territories, and not kind of open up a database and allow people to go out and find their clients anywhere and everywhere.
I think we had a territory obviously initially, and I think that we very much wanted from the beginning to have territories for people, and we from day one we invested in territory mapping software, use a brilliant company called Atlas. And although that was quite an expense for us at the beginning, it's certainly been worthwhile, and we've never looked back since. And I feel really strongly actually about the benefits to the network of having territories, because it means that our franchisees are non-competing, so they all work in collaboration together, and I think we never realized what a benefit to the network that would be, and you probably don't when you've only got a couple, but now we've got so many, we can really see the benefits. So the franchisees, they've got their own area, they can only market in that area, but obviously if somebody wants to work with them who they've been recommended outside of that area, they're still their customers, so it doesn't restrict them, but it also means that, as I say, that the network collaborates. So we have franchisees doing work for other franchisees a lot across the network, whether it's because they're too busy, they're on holiday, they've got they're poorly, that it's something they're not necessarily got the skill set in, that's something quite specialist in. So that support has been enabled a lot of our franchisees to sort of grow their business in a really secure way till they get to the point where they may want to bring on their own team members. But it's also that collaboration extends to how people support each other, just like the support that Caroline and I have got, that sort of support when, you might be having a low day, or you need an idea, or you need to bounce something off each other. The network do that in spades. We've got a closed Facebook group where they all chat, and we probably get 10 posts a day on that. And it can be anything from, has anyone got a client in this sector? Has anyone seen this change on Facebook? To actually, yay, I've just won this client, I'm so excited, I wanted to share it. Or actually, I've had a really bad day, I've lost a client. Or, with lockdown last year particularly, the support across the network was huge. And some people, live alone, and, lockdown was hard. And the support that, people would post something if they were having a sort of, not a great day. And the support and empathy that came across is sort of been phenomenal. So we didn't anticipate that side of things, but oh gosh, it's such a benefit. And it really does feel like it sounds a bit corny, but it is a bit like a pink spaghetti family. We have a conference every year where everybody comes together, and we could have done it in March, which was our normal time, and it would have been virtual. We decided not to. We've postponed it to October, where hopefully everyone can come together, because of the importance to the network of everybody seeing each other and being able to support each other. And obviously, it would be nice for the new franchisees who haven't met the existing franchisees to sort of all get together, and that collaboration and the buzz when everybody arrives on that first day, where you've got all these people in the room, is absolutely amazing. And Caroline and I always sort of stand back and sort of take a moment and look at it and feel really proud at what we've achieved there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool actually that there is that collaboration in place, because I don't know, maybe the more I'm learning about the franchising world anyway, I'm starting to realize that just because they're in a territory of their own doesn't mean that they only focus on themselves and that's it. Actually, there's this big support and community, which is probably one of the bigger parts of buying into franchise. And I think as a whole is actually you've got somebody else who's gone through the same challenges as you, or going through the same challenges like COVID last year, as you say, who and together they can help each other through that, maybe find a route to some form of success or path through the difficulties. Like I guess you must have found that there are certain industries that you work with as a network became more prevalent in 2020 than they were previously. So therefore, one person finds that out and shares that with the network, and then all of a sudden, everybody's doing better.
We have a lot of we try to involve franchisees in the sort of development of the network, and we have working parties quite regularly where we bring in certain franchisees to sort of look at, could this be a sector that we could look into working with? How would we do it? What's experience can we draw upon? Because that is really important. If someone's already doing something really well, then let's learn from it and let's share it. And the franchisees do that all the time. But we try to formalize that sometimes when we want to create something bigger. And certainly over the last year with COVID and lockdowns and things like that, when we had the first lockdown, everybody was in a bit of a state of shock and panic, and it was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? We didn't know. Where all our customers suddenly going to stop? Where, will we ever recruit another franchisee? It was just awful. But one of the things that was a priority for us was to support the franchise network and to make sure that they had all the information that they needed. So we gave them, so much marketing material to support, to help them support their clients. But we also set up things like spaghetti surgery. So we would do 3 times a week a drop-in Zoom call where anybody could drop in and just chat and share things and learn from each other. And sometimes it was talking about, the most banal things such as hair dye, because as a network of females during lockdown, hair dye did become very important to us. But also sometimes it was to talk about, we could, let's try this. Has anyone done this? There was lots of great ideas that came from those sessions as well. So we're always trying to learn from each other and use people's previous sort of experiences. So, we've got franchisees who've got a legal background, HR, marketing, whatever it is, and we want people to be able to sort of draw upon those experiences and help us as a network grow.
Cool. So thinking about the work that you guys do as a network then, what's been some of the best projects you've personally experienced, perhaps, rather than the network? Actually, let's go for you personally. What's been some of the best projects you've worked on?
I don't know whether best, because I mean, yeah, every client is different, and I think sometimes the best ones are ones where you get really closely involved with the client and you are able to really transform their business and see it grow and take them from one place to another, and that's always really rewarding. And we've got sort of, so many of those, but we've had quite some weird requests, I would certainly say. We've had to, I remember we've got a request once to be a witness at a wedding, which was
Okay.
something we don't obviously put on our website as a service that we offer. And we were so surprised we even had to check out. We rang the registry office just to check that there was a wedding going on under this name, because we thought it was some sort of April Fools or something like that. So that was quite strange. We've had as well things like sourcing reindeer for people. That was quite unusual.
Sorry, what was that?
Reindeer. We had to source reindeer.
Source reindeer. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was for a children's party one Christmas. So found out that reindeer only come in twos because they're very sociable creatures. But who would know that? So yes, we've done some weird and wonderful requests for people, but probably the best, the most rewarding, the ones where we work, long term with a client and really help to sort of get their business to where they want it to be, whether it's sorting out some massive admin back office problem, or whether it's coming up with a really strong social media campaign for them to promote a new service, whatever it is. But I think the key thing which we do in our own area, because we still have our original area, we've got a brilliant team who run it and look after our clients. And it's the same with our network as well, is that we tend to, once we start working with a client, we work with them for many years. And we've got clients who we work with, who we started working with when we first started the business, and as their business has grown, our business has grown, and we've continued to support them. And that's really nice, because you've built up some really strong relationships there.
That's interesting. So those businesses that have grown as a result of some of the support you've given them, do they ever reach a size where they go, actually, that's kind of enough now, thanks for your help, we're going to take people on? I guess there's a risk with that.
And yeah, obviously that does happen. They'll get to a size when they go, actually, yes, we think we want somebody in the office or whatever it is. But actually, probably in sort of our original area, so we had a client who literally, they had 2 people, and it was just me and Caroline who looked after them, and they've now got a team of about 180, 200 people across the UK. And we had that discussion with them about 6 years ago. They were sort of at quite a pivotal point. They were about to sort of accelerate their growth, and they wanted us to carry on, and we are their complete back office. And, he said, actually, I don't want to get a team member in, or, a team of people because actually what I love about Pink Spaghetti is that I can hand anything over to you. You've got such a variety of skills within your team that you can do everything that I need. You're never off sick because we've always got cover. You're never on holiday because we've always got cover. And I say it can be something that's really mundane and a keying job to something much more complex. And I know I can just pass it over to you and you guys will get it done. So he could have got that point recruited, but he didn't. And I say now we are his total back office, and provide absolutely tons and tons of support, and we are totally integrated into his business. So our team, they have his email, their Jenny at their email address. We are that customer and completely part of their business. And we have a number of customers where we are really integrated with their business, and although we are a virtual sort of PA service, we get to know our customers, and it's the same across the network. You get to know your customers so well that you do become very integrated with them, and it is really rewarding to be able to work with them and to be part of their journey.
Yeah, I guess for that client you mentioned there, it's less headaches for him, isn't it, to deal with? It's just send it over and it's done, rather than, like you say, somebody being off ill or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you also don't have all the HR and payroll kind of issues that maybe crop up as well. And actually, just it's a little bit more transactional, although you said you do get to know
Yeah,
them and work closely with
yeah,
them.
yeah. And we always say to customers, you set your business up to do what you have a passion for, whether it's being a florist or making brilliant coffee or whatever it is. That's why you set it up. You didn't set it up to do all the back office or your social media or your research, whatever it is. And it, as you grow, if you spend your time doing the thing that you're passionate for, you're probably going to be able to charge your time out at a higher rate, make more money for your business, and actually leave us to get all the other stuff done. And you've got that peace of mind knowing that it will be done. And you can focus on the thing that you want to do, the thing that you set your business up for.
Brilliant. So within your career then, any funny, strange or weird stories other than reindeer resourcing, or is that the main one?
To be honest, yeah, I think I must have had a really boring life, because I don't think I've had anything that really stands out other than, a few odd requests from clients. Nothing that, I was racking my brains, because obviously you sent me a few of the questions, and I was looking at yesterday going, I must have had something funny or strange happen to me in my life, but no, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to disappoint you on that one. I've got nothing else that I can...
No, that's fine. I mean, to be honest, I asked myself the question the other day, and just thinking about it, and I was like, I don't think I've got anything either.
Yeah.
So
It's a really mean question, that.
It gets some good stories though, so I like to ask it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go for one that maybe is a little bit easier to find, and that's what inspirational or proud moments have you had in your career, and maybe just within the franchise, perhaps?
Yeah, I think probably certainly our proudest moment was when we won the Workbus 5-star best franchise of the year award earlier in last year now. That for us was just the icing on the cake. We've been doing the 5-star satisfaction survey for the last sort of 5 years, and for those of you who don't know about it, it basically is where Workbuzz, who they basically survey our franchise network and ask them a whole host of questions about how we work, about how happy they are, how profitable their business is, whether it meets their sort of their ideals, and the support that you give, the training, absolutely everything. It's really comprehensive, and we've done that because for us that's really important, because not only is it an impartial validation of who we are and the franchise network, but it also gives us, they've got the option to sort of lead comments and things like that, and we use those to build the network on. And we've always scored, like I said, brilliantly in them. We've always been in the top 3. Yeah. With our satisfaction scores, which in itself we're so proud of, and that makes you a finalist for the best franchise. And last year we won that, and so that for us was really probably our proudest moment, because it wasn't just based on a series of a presentation or an award submission that we could have written that judges decided was best. It was based partly on our satisfaction and then partly on the sort of things that we could tell them about how we were developing the business and the support and the training, and for us it was just huge. Yeah, I don't think we couldn't have been prouder. It really was a massive moment for us, real validation of the franchise that we built up and the how successful it was. So yeah, for us that's absolutely massive. But when I look, in terms of sort of inspiring, there's probably no one person that's sort of inspired us, but I have to say, and it sounds a bit corny, but our franchisees, they are absolutely amazing. When you've got 52 odd people who you get to know, and we do get to know our franchisees really well, when you see, learn about their lives and their stories, how they've come to the network, what they've achieved, and some franchisees have, gone through, terrible things at home, illnesses or divorce, or overcome lots of things. And then they build the most amazing businesses. That is really, really inspiring. And it is a real pleasure to work with them all, and to be able to support them to get to where they are. So it sounds corny, but I have to say our network, really do inspire me every day.
No, I don't think it's corny. I think it's great, because it shows that you care about your franchisees, and how their businesses are doing, and the satisfaction side of things. That award that you're talking in there, that ties into that. I think it shows
Hmm.
that actually this isn't just a money making scheme for you. Like, I know
No,
some
not
people
at
think
all. Yeah,
franchising is actually
yeah,
genuinely something that inspires you to keep going and working harder to make it a better model or a better business for everybody. And
yeah.
I
I
think
think
that's
that
really good. And
we're very passionate about being. We were very lucky that we had the opportunity to, you know, to sort of to set our own business up, set something up that was flexible, that worked around our family, but also has set up something that's real. It's not a hobby business, it's a real business, and we've been able to grow it. And we're really passionate about giving other people that opportunity to start their own business that is a real business, but also can be flexible, whether it's because people want to go to a yoga class or do a run or look after kids, whatever it is. It's that opportunity to create something that's theirs, and that for us is really important.
fantastic. So, for anybody then looking to buy a franchise, whether it's yours or any others, do you have any pieces of advice you'd like to give them, or one piece of advice you'd like to give them?
What I would say is really think about, being your own boss, being self-employed, is that something for you? And it is really hard to know till you do it, but it is very different to being employed. There are highs and lows. The highs are amazing, but actually the lows, can be really hard. And if you haven't got support around you to get you through those periods, then it can be really tough. And when you're employed, you've always got us, whatever happens to the business, generally you get a paycheck at the end of the month. When you're self-employed, it's down to you and your team, if you've got them, to bring in the money. And actually, if you have a bad month, that's bad, because you're going to have less money coming in. So you've really got to think about, does that suit you? Does that lifestyle, it is far more rewarding, I would say, than being employed. But it can also be hard, and it is incredibly hard work. Don't go into it thinking that actually it's an easy ride. It's not. It is incredibly hard work, but it is extremely rewarding. And I would certainly never ever go back to sort of employed life and corporate world. If I ever have a bad dream, it's being back in an office, a big office, and sort of being employed by some large organization. That is my sort of bad dream scenario. And I feel so fortunate and privileged that I have that we've got our own business, that it's I've got the flexibility to be with my family when I want to be, and as they've grown up, that's been brilliant. But also I've been able to build something that's real, that that's a challenge for us every day, and that we enjoy. So I do feel really fortunate in that way.
Yeah, sounds great. And I think the flexibility bit that you mentioned there, yes, that is a nice piece to have, isn't it? Flexibility, but it doesn't mean working less. I think you
It doesn't,
highlighted that brilliantly.
flexibility. I think some people think flexibility means that you can just sort of turn up, do a couple of hours here, there, and everywhere, and that's not what. Having a successful business is hard work, and you've got to, you have got to put the hours in. However, it can be flexible. I don't know what hours our franchisees work. I don't know what days they work, but I do also all know that they can choose. If they want to have a day off for sports day, or to go to the flower show, whatever it is, they can do that. They don't have to ask us. You don't have to ask the boss. It's their business. It's up to them how they run it. And that flexibility, I think, is priceless. And certainly I feel really lucky to have that.
Perfect. Vicky, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you and getting to know you and your business better. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It's been lovely.
No worries. Take care.
Bye.